Now we have all the ingredients together to come up with our very own cybersecurity program. In the following, we will discuss a simplistic 7-step approach to build your cybersecurity program from scratch. Now let's get right to it. Step 1 is about the prioritization and scoping. The organization identifies its business and mission objectives and high-level organizational priorities. With this information, the organization makes a strategic decision regarding cybersecurity implementations and determines the scope of systems and assets that support the selected business line or process. The framework can be adapted to support the different business lines or processes within an organization, which may have different business needs and associated risk tolerances. Risk tolerances may be reflected in a target implementation tier if applicable. The second step is about orientation. Once the scope of the cybersecurity program has been determined for the business line or process, the organization identifies related systems and assets in the organization, regulatory requirements, and the overall risk approach. The organization then consults sources to identify threats and vulnerabilities applicable to those systems and assets. Step 3 is about crafting an as-is profile. The organization develops a current profile by indicating which category and subcategory outcomes from the framework core are currently being achieved. If an outcome is partially achieved, noting this fact will help support subsequent steps by providing baseline information. Looking to step 4, conducting a risk assessment. In this assessment, this assessment could be guided by the organization's overall risk management process or previous risk assessment activities. The organization analyzes the operational environment in order to discern the likelihood of a cybersecurity event and the impact that the event could have on the organization. It is important that organizations identify emerging risks and use cyber threat information from internal and external sources to gain a better understanding of the likelihood and impact of cybersecurity events. And now let's switch to the creation of the target profile in step 5. The organization creates a target profile that focuses on the assessment of the framework categories and subcategories describing the organization's desired cybersecurity outcomes. Organizations also may develop their own additional categories and subcategories to account for unique organizational risks. The organization may also consider influences and requirements of external stakeholders such as sector entities, customers, or business partners when creating a target profile. The target profile should appropriately reflect criteria within the target implementation tier. In the 6th step, we deal about gap determination, analyzing, and prioritization. The organization compares the current profile and the target profile to determine gaps. Next, it creates a prioritized action plan to address these gaps, reflecting the mission drivers, costs, benefits, and risks to achieve the outcomes defined in the target profile. The organization also then determines resources, including the funding and the workforce necessary to address the gaps. And using profiles in this manner encourages the organization to make informed decisions about cybersecurity activities, support risk management, and enables the organization to perform cost-effective and targeted improvements. And coming to the final step, it's all about the implementation of the action plan. The organization determines which actions to take to address the gaps, if any, identified in the previous step, and then adjust its current cybersecurity practices in order to achieve the target profile. For further guidance, the framework identifies example informative references regarding the categories and subcategories, but organizations should determine which standards, guidelines, and practices, including those are sector-specific, work best for the needs. An organization repeats the steps as needed to continuously assess and improve its cybersecurity. For instance, organizations may find that more frequent repetition of a process step improves the quality of risk assessments. Furthermore, organizations may monitor progress through iterative updates to the current profile, subsequently comparing the current profile to the target profile. Organizations may also use this process to align their cybersecurity program with their desired framework implementation here. Being the driver of your cybersecurity program requires you to repeat the steps as needed to continuously assess and improve its cybersecurity. I hope this gives you a good blueprint on how to start your cybersecurity program journey. You can also find this reference in the download section for your very own convenience. However, we will discuss two specific topics in more detail in the upcoming lectures, which are essential for any implementation success: stakeholder communication and introduction to the OWASP cyber defense matrix. So stay tuned.